Our business journal today takes us to see the difficulty in finding the balance of developing for green energy as well as maintaining the livelihood of the natives involved with these constructions. In the future obligations of ASEAN, as important as food security is energy stability. The world of the future does not hint at a slowing demand for energy. While we are mainly dependent on non-renewable energy, there is potential for ASEAN to facilitate the usage of renewable energy sources as the region's central energy generation. Thailand, located at a central hub between the ASEAN countries, if we don't reassess our energy development direction, we will be the main buyers of power from our neighbors. Could you please tell us about the gradual development of usage of energy in the ASEAN region as well as the GMS region towards green energy?
Well, as you know, AEC, which is coming soon within 2.5 years, no matter what, there will be borderless on the power. In this case here, Thailand would end up become the purchase of the power from Laos and from Burma. That's where the source of the power would be. So that those two countries will be the main supplier. From Thailand, we will get into smaller operation of the power due to the, we don't have to want to use the lignite nor nuclear. So that we left out only the natural gas. And natural gas will be run out from anyway within 15 years. With that, we have to buy the power from both two countries. So that's basically we are. So that the very small power producer would be the very important role in Thailand. Now, we unsuccessfully, not successfully, implement the VSPP, which is the solar, the wind, the renewable type, because Thai government do not enforce strong enough. We have the cabinet resolution about 8% to be doing that by now, but we have lesser than 3%. So that is a big job ahead of us to push it through the solar, the wind power, so on and so forth, in Thailand. But the main power for industry, as we know, 75% of the power in Thailand is go to industry sector. So that industry sector will be consumed most of the power from Laos and from Burma. Believe it or not, Burma is open up. And Burma is on AEC. When they open up, you talk about 100,000 megawatt available. If someone invests in that 100,000, it's a gold mine for the power from Thailand to buy it from.
What kind of opportunities do you see that will be financing these energy-related projects?
Well, eventually in Thailand here, the government will more likely walk away from the direct finance now, because we will go to IPP, either or PPP, which is public-private participation. Like in Laos, at this moment, more likely government from Laos own 30%, the rest of them is private sector, so that it will be invested by the private sector more than the government sector.
However, with the plan comes the cost. Moreover, the huge financial cost of these infrastructures are the social costs. The livelihood of thousands affected by this mega project to generate electricity is at stake. Huge dams will require a vast area of land to hold the water. Thousands of people will have to be relocated whether they like it or not. Furthermore, agriculture-based countries like Thailand, Myanmar, and Vietnam will have to sacrifice these fertile lands to allocate enough space for huge power-generating projects such as dams.
If we think about the development issue, for example, we build the road construction and transboundary railroad, and also other, dams, and also other the infrastructure, big infrastructure. But if we build such a big infrastructure projects, we really need to think about the livelihood. For example, that can happen to the community, like a relocation and displacement of the people. So do we have a plan or do we have a strategy to relocate those people to which area? So I will moving there within 6 months, but if we don't have a strategy to relocate, how about the food, and how about temporary shelter, and how about their everyday business and everyday income? Because if changing their location, and they can be affected to their everyday income.
Yes. So if that kind of thinking is incorporated into the development of developing countries, what will be the benefit of achieving livelihood of human resources in the area as well as developing?
We have like our environmental impact assessment, we call EIA, but if we do calculate such of things before starting, and we need to take time to look at the assessment before we plan the project, we design the project. But such of assessment also really need to have collective voices from the people, and also concern for the livelihood, real livelihood situation. So that's why I'm suggesting this, PPP framework to include in GMS region.
And what kind of PPP framework are you talking about specifically to incorporate into the GMS as well as possibly into ASEAN?
Specifically for transboundary issue, and also looking at the cooperative projects. For example, the resilience of climate change effect, and also the development projects, and also impact on their livelihood, and how do they balance.
Regional development projects in the past have neglected the livelihood of locals at the promise of moving forward. With proper hindsight of this neglect, we can continue to move forward into the second decade of the 21st century with new wisdom to create balance. The rapid escalation of development to these developing countries could result in the folly of ignorance for the invaluable resources of natural richness that we possess. Natakorn Pladi, reporting for ASEAN TV.